session decades ago and got inspired by that conversation, realized, got those tips to build the digital business of the future and started these companies. And we are going to do the same in today's session as well. We are going to get those tips as well from Dr. Trivedi. So we are going to hear from him shortly. We also have Natasha Lam joining us from the University of Bradford's admission team. She's an international admissions officer with Bradford's admission team, and she would clarify any doubts we have about the admission process, the school, studying in London, studying in UK, in Bradford, not in London, but studying in UK. So we are going to hear from her as well and understand about the Bradford University and their School of Management. But at this point, let me do more formal introductions for all of us and then kickstart the session. So good evening again. My name is 𝗀𝗪𝗲𝗂𝗏. I'm one of the co-founders and directors at Seed Global Education. We are a higher education firm that works with the universities across the world, connecting candidates and prospective students like you with their top-notch faculty to give you a taste of their program, about their teaching styles, about the uniqueness of those schools, those universities, and give you a chance to hear from their thought leaders and faculty like Dr. Trivedi. To tell you a little bit about Dr. Trivedi, this is going to be a long introduction. He's done so much in his career, and I really can't compress it into a really short intro, so I'm going to take a minute doing this. Dr. Trivedi is an associate professor in strategic marketing and director of the postgraduate studies at the School of Management of the University of Bradford, which is based in UK. Prior to this, he was a postdoctoral researcher with the chair of marketing and innovation at University of Hamburg, which is in Germany, and an associate professor of marketing at MICA. I'm sure since you're Indian, majority of people in this webinar are from India, you would know MICA as one of the top marketing and communications institutions in the country. So that's Mudra Institutes of Communications. Ahmedabad, again, a really top-notch institution for marketing and communications. So he was an associate professor of marketing over there. He holds an MCOM degree, an MBA, and a PhD. He's published research papers in leading international peer-reviewed journals, including Psychology and Marketing, Journal of Business Research, European Journal of Marketing, Journal of Advertising Research, International Journal of Hospitality Management, and many more as well. He's also the recipient of the Best Research Paper Award at the 8th International Entrepreneurship Forum, organized by the University of Essex, OECD, and LEED. He's currently serving as an associate editor at the International Journal of Emerging Markets. His research areas are around green marketing, integrated marketing communication, big data and social science, entrepreneurship, consumer action, and decision-making and strategic marketing. As you can imagine, being so well published is the recognition in itself. Getting published in these top peer-reviewed journals is extremely challenging, and it takes faculty a lot of effort and a lot of research to get published in those. And he's got so many publications over there. At Bradford, he teaches the MBA program, he teaches in the master's programs and the undergraduate students as well, across courses in marketing, multivariate data analysis, entrepreneurship subjects, namely principles of marketing, strategic marketing, marketing simulation, business research methods, and advanced quantitative research. So I tried to do this as briefly as possible, but you can imagine from his credentials that he's extremely well published and very well recognized in the industry. In today's session, we are going to talk to him about how to build a digital business and how it's different from a traditional business. We are going to talk about what are the core elements that go into building a digital business. We will talk to him about the digital marketing ecosystem and learn about the leadership skills that are required to build a digital business of tomorrow. So with that introduction, let me hand it over to Dr. Trivedi, Dr. Rohit Trivedi. Over to you. We have around 227 people in the room right now and counting. By the end, in the next 5 minutes, we expect to cross the 300 mark. It's an extremely interested audience who are all looking forward to hearing from you. So over to you.
Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you very much for the very generous introduction. Without wasting any time, let's start the session. So I'll be sharing my screen and let me know if you can see that.
We can.
Perfect. Okay, great. So thank you, Sanjay, again, and thank you all very much for joining the session. Today, I'm planning to talk about the digital businesses. And the reason is the traditional businesses are passé. The traditional business of cement, steel, textile, these are the businesses of the past. while the future businesses are in the domain of fintech, digital marketing, so on and so forth. And quite often, we are still using the old tool pack of traditional business in creating the new digital businesses, which often doesn't work, right? And that's why I'm kind of planning to focus on understanding the nuances of the digital businesses and how they are different from the traditional businesses per se. So Sanjay has kind of given a very generous introduction of me. Broadly speaking, I am doing research in the area of digital marketing and big data analytics. Along with that, I'm also very active on the industry side of it with consulting assignment that are spanning across advertising, digital businesses, pharmaceuticals, and data analytics. So that's kind of briefly about me. What I'm planning to do is in next few minutes, I'm planning to talk about Bradford and University of Bradford. And then I'll talk about how to create a digital business and then briefly introduce our master's portfolio for you. So starting with the Bradford, many a time people are not aware, that Bradford is one of the prominent city into UK. And it is very well connected with the major cities like Manchester, Birmingham, London, so on and so forth. Broadly speaking, Bradford is one of the youngest city in Europe and considered to be curry capital of the UK. Bradford has got a very, very, very interesting life, and you will find people from all nationalities, all cultures who are present over here in Bradford. And I'm sure it would be a great interaction and cultural exposure for you. Specifically about Bradford University is one of the UK's most prestigious and oldest university. So as I said, we have more than 130 nationalities who are present over here at University of Bradford. And we have got many important accolades like TEF, Teaching Excellence Framework Silver Award, Queen's Anniversary Prize, Triple Crown Accreditation, so on and so forth. So that's broadly about the Bradford University. And this is our campus. So it's a conglomerate of cultural landscape, along with that, natural beauty, and few green buildings, so to say. So that's what is our campus. Talking about specifically School of Management that I am representing. School of Management is actually UK's one of the very well established, oldest and most respected business schools. So School of Management is divided into three departments: accounting and finance and economics, which is housing MSc programs like MSc Finance and Investment, MSc Finance, Accounting and Management, so on and so forth. Then we have got business analytics, entrepreneurship, and circular economy. That is second department, where MSc Applied Artificial Intelligence and MSc Supply Chain and Logistics is housed. And thirdly, the department from where I'm coming, International Business Marketing and Strategy, wherein we are offering MSc Marketing, MSc Digital and Strategic Marketing, MSc Management, so on and so forth. So this is broadly how the School of Management is structured. And we are very, very proud to say that School of Management is Triple Crown accredited. That is, we are accredited by all the three leading management accreditation agencies, ICWIS, ENBA, and AACSB. And less than 1% of the actually business schools around the world can boast about this. So that's what is broadly about School of Management. Now from there, going directly into digital businesses. So day in and day out, if you are on internet, you would have heard the businesses like MICA, Pepperfry, Dunzo, or even Shaadi.com, right? And these businesses are now considered to be mainstream businesses. They are not business experiments. And if you have heard about all of these businesses, and I'm specifically focusing on Indian businesses, because I'm being told that most of the audience would be from India. So all the examples that I would be taking would be largely from the businesses which are there in India, so that you are broadly familiar about them. So the common thing among all these businesses they are digital businesses of the future. And they are not small idea, they are not experiment, but they are very well established businesses having a strong customer base and revenue and profitability. So these are the businesses of the future. Now, right, what is digital business? What is the definition of digital business? So any business which is internet enabled with a new business model, right, that actually gives unparalleled experience to the customer and having a competitive edge, combining both digital and physical resources are considered digital business. So just to give you kind of right few examples. So on the left-hand side of the screen, you will see the examples of Apple and Z5 of the world. Now, these businesses, when established, right, before a long period of time, they were actually traditional hardware manufacturer and entertainment business, so to say. But over a period of time, they have moved from being the traditional kind of right businesses to the world of the digital. And they are actually creating a new word, which is digital. And I'll talk about them later on. So that's kind of right, one set of businesses, your Apple, Z5s, and Fab India of the world. While at the same point of time, in last 10 years, we have got a completely new sets of business. And these are known as digital native business. That means they have actually emerged because of the penetration of the digital technology, internet. And I'm sure you would be aware about such businesses because they are kind of right omnipresent in India. So when you want to listen to music, you'll go to Spotify. When you want to order your food, you will go to Swiggy, right? And these businesses are completely on internet, right? So they have got minimal physical kind of right tangible resources, so to say. And these are broadly two categorization of the digital businesses. And believe me, more and more businesses today are moving away from traditional businesses towards the digital side of it. So now I'm going to talk about kind of right few tricks of the books to develop and create these digital businesses for the future. And first is blitz scaling. And I really love this book kind of right, which is from the co-founder of LinkedIn, Reid Hoffman. Now, what does the book say? So basically, in the past, whenever you used to establish a traditional business or whenever you used to manage a traditional business, be it a steel company or a cement company, you would have 3 to 5 years actually to acquire land, create plant, bring machinery, start production. So the lag time between developing an idea and go to market would be anything between 3 to 7 years. And that's fine. Competitors kind of right were one step behind you. And that's why you had the luxury of time with you. But if you are into digital world, that's not the case. Because in digital world, the key resource is neither capital nor land and plant and machinery. But in the digital world, the key resource is idea and uniqueness of idea that would resonate with the customer and give you a very, very, very strong niche competitive edge. Because of that reason, what you really need is an ability to blitz scale. That means scale very, very, very rapidly, and not only in your small region, not only in a country like India, but globally. And the business that can blitz scale actually wins the game hands-on. That means scale fast, number one. Number two, you don't only need to scale fast, but you need to scale in niches. That means global ideas like Amazon are done. Now you have to find a very small segment of the consumer who are having a very specific need that you can serve. And then you can create kind of right a completely new different business model. And I'll talk about that kind of right with few examples later on. And number three, as I said, right, scale across geography, country, and continent fast. That's what is the key to the digital business. That means make a kind of right significant sum of investment along with angel partners, right? But make sure that you scale very, very, very quickly and capture a small niche part of the market. Number two, for the digital businesses, most important thing is something which is known as flywheel effect, or in other words, also known as network effect. That means create a positive flywheel, not only for developing the business, but also for making it profitable as soon as possible. So for example, right, recently, I'm sure you would have heard that MICA, right, listed on the Indian stock market, and MICA became a kind of billion-dollar company. Now, what is the success mantra of MICA? So Falguni Nair, right? So I had a kind of a good fortune of meeting her once. She said very beautifully, we depend on network effects. That means at any point of time on our MICA platform, which is a cosmetic and beauty platform, as I'm sure many of you would be aware about it, we want more brands and more partners, because more brands would bring more transactions and more customers. Now, what would be the benefit of having kind of more customers and more transactions? Apart from profitability, it would lead to more engagement, that is both in numeric terms, also qualitatively. That means you will have a better organic traffic, which would lead to better experience for the customer and richer content. And this richer content and organic traffic would then feed to acquiring more customers. And this is all network effects all about. So in digital businesses, you cannot remain in isolated monologue, like Hindustan Unilever of the world or Nestle of the world, right? Where you just have one-way communication through advertising and kind of you try to create the brand equity. No. In digital businesses, partnering with your customer and making them a co-creator of the value is very important, because then and then you will be able to capture the entire network effect, like MICA has done kind of very, very successfully. So that's what is about network effect. Second, quite often people wrongly believe that digital businesses can be only created in B2C route, that is business to consumer, like MICAs of the world. I'm sure, right, B2C is a great way to create the business model. But at the same point of time, don't forget that many, and I'm repeating, many successful digital businesses are created on B2C, that is business to consumer, C2C, that is consumer to consumer, and B2B2C, that is business to consumer rule. So for example, right, we all know the success story of OLX. I'm sure many of you have used that. Now, OLX is typically a C2C story, right? Salesforce, right? A cloud native company. If you haven't taken a look at that, please do so, right? It's an enterprise resource cloud company. So many a time, right, whenever you wanted to interact with your customer and have a customer relationship management package, your first port of destination today would be Salesforce. That's a B2B example. So don't limit yourself when you are kind of creating a digital company to only B2C. There is a plethora of ways how you can actually create your business model. Similarly, along with business model, another important thing is the revenue model, because ultimately, revenue is the God. So how does the digital businesses create revenue? So traditional businesses only were able to create revenue in one single way, that is transaction, point of purchase transaction, right? Largely speaking. Digital businesses are not limited by that. Digital businesses have got a multiple leg of revenue creation, be it AdWord, right? That is advertising-led revenue creation, SWord, that is subscription-led revenue creation, like Netflix is doing. Amazon part of transaction-led revenue creation. A good number of businesses actually now are going through a completely different route. They are going onto the route of sponsorship, affiliate, and freemium way of creating the revenue. So freemium means only a part of the service will be free, and then you need to go onto the route of paying the premium for the content. So for example, from India, I really like Business Standard, one of the business newspaper, which is doing that on the digital world. So only a snippet of, for example, content will be available free. And then if you want to read the Business Standard newspaper, you have to pay for that. Same is with the Wall Street Journal, WSJ. That's a premium model. So what I mean to say is, don't limit yourself to the traditional thinking of transaction-led kind of revenue. In digital world, you can actually do mix and match to create multiple sources of revenue dependent on the business model. Third, and this is one of the most interesting aspect of digital business, that is, in the future, digital businesses are more leaning towards the digital side of it. What is digital? So as I said earlier, right, it's about embracing the hybrid user experience, that is having physical presence, offline presence, so to say, and merging it with your digital services. So Domino's Pizza, I'm sure all of you would have tried that. CEO of Domino's Pizza said very beautifully recently that we are no more a pizza delivery company. We are a digital company for the future, having pizza as a product. And that's what makes a landmark change. And same thing is happening with insurance and banking sector, right? So for example, HDFC Bank, now more transactions on HDFC Bank are conducted online rather than offline. And that's why if you are developing a business which is for the future, make sure that there is a complete seamless integration between your physical resources and physical presence with the digital avatar, so to say. Next, so in the traditional businesses, right, steel, cement, textile, there was a vendor relationship. So for example, for a textile business, if you're manufacturing clothes, right, there would be someone who would be delivering you yarn, who's your supplier. Now that vendor relationship is done, completed, done and dusted. In the digital world, the relationships are partnerships. That means you work with a set of companies who would partner with you to deliver your products and services to the end consumer. So on the front, it would be only you, but in the back, you will have created multiple partnerships to enable you to provide that unparalleled customer experience. That means an ecosystem of partners you need to create. So I'm sure if you haven't looked at Policy Bazaar or Lending Card, take a look at that. These are called fintech companies, financial technology companies of the future. And it is said that Policy Bazaar would be giving tough competition to many of the traditional insurance players, including LIC. Or Lending Card is giving tough competition to some of the small scale banks. And these are the ways to future. Fourth, and very important thing, don't depend on the traditional marketing tools of only advertising or discounts, that is promotion, right? Or public relationship. No, the digital marketing is at the heart of digital businesses, and it is being led by, as I call it, trifecta. That is your owned media, and paid media propels your digital business. Okay, so what is your, for example, starting with the first one, owned media? That is those media properties that is owned by the company, like your website, like your blog. And this website, blog, and social media channels of your company need to be seamlessly integrated with your traditional marketing tools like advertising. So that's what is called owned media. Then, along with that, more important in the time of Instagram and TikToks are earned media. That means the reviews and shares that you get from your customers, right? Which is being fueled by SEO, search engine optimization. That is second part of it, earned media. And last, when you have to pay for that, be it for the display advertisement, right, to Google, right, or to Facebook, for example. Now, this is paid media, and you have to actually have a very nicely strong, balanced trifecta of digital marketing to fuel your business. That means you can't solely depend on own media and think that customers will come on their own, or you can't completely depend on paid media, right? Because that will make your budget haywire. So a trifecta of that helps you to kind of propel your digital businesses. Last, you cannot depend on your laurels of the past. That means you have to keep on innovating and keep on expanding. That means Google, which started with search, right? Later on went to Gmail, which is email, and YouTube, right? Which is content, right? Video content sharing. But along with that, now it has gone much more beyond that. So it is now into gaming, it is into mobile, kind of, right? It is actually kind of into your fitness technology, so on and so forth. So this kind of nested business model, I repeat myself, it is called nested platform-oriented business model, is the way to go. And please don't forget that with all those important elements that I've highlighted before, for the digital businesses also, having an environmentally responsible, that is looking for the biodiversity and sustainability, being a socially responsible citizen, that is caring for the society and having empathy for the disadvantaged member of the society. Along with that, having a strong sense of business ethics, that is right and wrong, is very, very, very important. So please, when you are kind of either establishing your own digital business or you are kind of leading the digital business, right, which are existing now, please be purpose-driven, right, and try to make sure that we have world as a better place. So that's what is ESG. So broadly speaking, right, the digital businesses are here to stay, and we have to be a part of it. So embrace it with kind of open hearts. Now, coming to COVID, right, we have all seen that unlike traditional businesses, digital businesses have flourished, gained market share and profitability during the time of COVID. So what would happen in a post-pandemic digital world? For you, please remember that job landscape is changing. So the digital business is going to take over. And that's why the skills that are specific to the digital businesses, be it big data analytics, be it digital marketing, or be it information security analyst, are the job of the future. And you have to be prepared for that. And to prepare you for that, actually at School of Management, we are kind of offering a host of master's program. Generalist master's program, which is giving a foundation for you if you haven't taken kind of any steps towards management to understand the management landscape. Along with that, we have got a set of specialist master's program like MSc Applied AI in Data Analytics, right, or MSc in International Accounting and Finance, Financial Technology, and Digital Marketing, so to say. So kind of they will prepare you to be a part of the digital business leaders of the future. So these are the set of offerings at School of Bradford. Lastly, right, just a food for thought for you. What just kind of have an introspection and think that what are the 3 key personality traits and 3 key skills that you will need to be a part of the digital ecosystem. Yeah, so that's kind of parting thoughts from me. Thank you very much, and kind of please get in touch. I've provided here my email address, so at any point of time, right, if you've got some great idea, write to me and we can always have a chat. Thank you very much, and I'll stop sharing my screen now and pass it on to Sanjay.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Trivedi. This has been extremely insightful as a digital entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur myself, it is very interesting to see what, how much more we can do and refine our business model as well as we grow. So thank you for that extremely insightful session. I am going to encourage the audience to ask questions in the Q&A box. Okay, I see the question has come in, so I'm going to wait before I pick up the audience questions. To the audience, you can post your questions in the Q&A box. You can also upvote other people's questions. So that way I know which are the important, relevant questions for you. And I will pick those up to ask to Dr. Trivedi and to Natasha as well about the process. Any queries you may have about studying at Bradford, we'll take those up as well. So you can post your questions in the Q&A box. In the meanwhile, Dr. Trivedi, I wanted to check with you and ask you this. You have taught at your three different universities. You were with MICA, then you were with University of Hamburg, now with Bradford University. Do you see any change in the teaching styles, how the entire learning experience that happens possibly in India versus how it happens in Western Europe or in Germany and UK? Do you see any difference in that?
Thank you, Sanjay. So I'm into teaching and research and consulting for more than 20 years now. And I can only say that unlike in the past, what happened in India, globally, if you go to Germany and UK, the teaching pedagogy is completely shifting more from theory orientation to now skill orientation. So now for the future, it's very important to know that how to handle the big data, right? So data analytics, how to handle the marketing campaign in the digital world, be it Google AdWords or Facebook. And this skills for the future is something which is much more ingrained as a part of curriculum at School of Management at University of Bradford.
All right, that's great to hear. I asked this question because a lot of our audience here, they are in final year of undergrad education or pre-final year or just graduated, and they are still trying to decide whether to do their masters within India itself or go abroad. And this can be a great insight for them to understand how the universities outside are possibly more evolved on the digital learning curve compared to how things are in India as of now. But great to hear that. I do have a couple of audience questions which have come in. The first one, which I see seems to be a popular one. This is by 𝗀𝗫𝗄𝗃, who is asking how to increase networking skills. So what can they do? Networking is not something which Indian universities or undergraduate universities in India really focus on. Employment is mainly facilitated through the placement process at the school, or your students search on their own, and they don't really have to bother networking to find opportunities. So what can the students do to upskill themselves and emerge as potentially good networkers?
Sure. Thank you, Sanjay. So we have got the traditional way of networking, which is like attending the seminars and conferences, be present on the LinkedIn and get connected with industry experts, so to say. Along with that, and these are all important things. So I'm not saying you should not have a LinkedIn presence, right? And you should not be active on LinkedIn, for example. But along with that, the important thing for Indian students that I've seen over a period of time is, in simple words, break the glass ceiling. Don't be timid. Don't think that if there is a leading industry expert that you can't connect, right? You can't talk to. Many industry experts, right? And many researchers who are prominent across the world, many academicians are very, very open to help the young and budding students. So just contact them. Our all email address are now available on internet. I'm sure that if you write to any industry expert, right, most of them are gentle enough to get in touch with you. Only thing is you need to have a meaningful question to ask and interact. If you have that, break the glass ceiling, make the first contact, and I'm sure you will get at least some very, very, very good response that will shape your future.
That is extremely encouraging. We know, or at least amongst the people I track, Anand Mahindra is extremely active, does respond to a lot of tweets, is on social media all the time. 𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗁𝒂𝗃 is extremely popular amongst this generation. So by the way, 𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗁𝒂𝗃 and I studied at the same business school. So we are graduates from the same business school. I met him a couple of times, extremely humble guy as well. He tends to respond to a lot of the queries that people send him over various media. So he does that. So reach out to these people, and I'm quite confident that you would, of course, you need to frame your communication properly. You need to structure your communication appropriately, ask the right questions, show that you've done your research and are not coming across you're completely raw. So put in that effort, and I'm sure you'll end up building some really strong connects with various people in the industry. Thank you for that. I have this question from Vishakha about getting into a PhD program at Bradford. So by the way, do you take on any research assistants yourself and any insights on how the PhD program could be at Bradford?
Sure, thank you, Sanjay. So actually, I have got 8 or 9 PhD students who are working under me at University of Bradford. So I believe the name was Vishakha, right? So Vishakha, if you directly write an email to me with your area of interest, we can have an interaction, or I'll pass it on to the colleague who is working in the specific area that you are interested. Does it help?
It does. And the next question that came, which was from Kunal about your email address. If you can share your email address once more, that would really help.
Oh, sure. Why not? I am putting it over here in the I'm sure you would be able to see my email address now.
I have just posted it as well. So that is on the Q&A box. I'm also posting it in the question. So you can also go and find it in this particular question. And you can find Dr. Trivedi's email address over there. Okay. I have a question from Preeti, which I'm going to pick up. It's a fairly long career journey that she has had in the IT field. She spent 13 years in the IT field as an associate consultant and is looking for a career change. Do you have any advice for her how she can segue into a different career path and possibly do so by studying at Bradford?
Sure. So I'm sorry, I missed the name. It's Preeti, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So Preeti, kind of right. It's great to kind of right know that you have a long illustrious career kind of right in the IT industry, and I'm sure that those skills are very, very, very relevant kind of right still today. Only thing is you have to pick up a course which is kind of right more resonating with you and help you kind of right leverage your skills. So for example, take a look at our MSc Applied Artificial Intelligence and Data Analytics program, which is offered at School of Management. That is building upon your knowledge of IT, but taking you forward into the field of artificial intelligence and data analytics for the future. So I'm repeating, Preeti, take a look at MSc Applied Artificial Intelligence and Data Analytics program. I'm sure that would interest you.
Thank you. That's really helpful. I don't have any more audience questions, so I'm going to give the audience one more chance to ask any questions. So if you have any questions for Dr. Trivedi, feel free to ask him those questions now in the Q&A box. Others who are looking at those questions, do upvote, gives us a feel of which are the relevant questions. In the meanwhile, Dr. Trivedi, I wanted to check with you and understand more about how does one take the stepping stones to building a digital business, right? I mean, there's so many opportunities, there's so many ideas floating around. 99% of those ideas are copycat ideas, right? They see one idea succeeding, and then there are hundreds or possibly thousands more which are just trying to replicate the same model. So how does one identify a unique idea and focus on building that sustainable business?
So actually kind of right, Sanjay, you have answered the question yourself. So the key is to have a unique business idea. And that business idea can hit from anywhere. It could be from an interaction with your friend. It could be just observing few people in the shopping mall. It could be observing how kind of right your friends and family do the daily life chores, so to say. So the idea can kind of right hit from anywhere. Only thing is after having that idea. So idea is one important part of the ingredient, but it is not the end of it. Along with having an idea, you need to have a strong commitment to develop a digital business and the skill to execute. That means at the same point of time, after having an idea, have a courage to take the first few steps and work on it and work with the like-minded people, that is your friends and industry partners. And kind of right, I'm sure that they would be very much open once you have a kind of right unique idea and insight to set to help you kind of right build a digital business.
So basically, inspiration can come from a lot of sources, but of course, once you have got the inspiration, the basic idea that you've identified, then put together the right team, focus on it, work hard towards it, and make things possible. Any research frameworks or any frameworks that the audience can possibly use to evaluate ideas? I know there's a lot of frameworks available to evaluate, and we learn about these in the school. But any top of mind that you can recommend to the audience that they can use to evaluate potential ideas?
So actually kind of right, there is a very beautiful framework from Harvard Business School for idea evaluation. So if you just kind of right search on Google, Harvard Business School idea evaluation, there is a beautiful framework kind of right that would open up, which is 14 kind of right filter questions format idea evaluation technique that is, so to say, recommended by Harvard Business School for that, right? But at the same point of time, I would say that quite often, unlike the traditional businesses, in digital businesses, one idea leads to another. So rather than just discarding any idea that has come up based upon the set kind of right integrated systems of the past, it is better to take that idea, talk to your friends, talk to venture capitalists, talk to angel funders, and quite often one idea leads to another. And that kind of right chain effect helps to set up the business for the future.
Perfect. And I think now VCs end up giving a lot of free advice. You go with an idea, and you can see you can test out their acceptability for your idea, right? If they really encourage or get involved in your the thought that you bring, then you know that there's some interest, so there's some validation over there. But if you see a lot of those people not really getting into conversations or not even trying to evaluate your business, then possibly you know that it is not really selling with the investor community, and do more market tests. I quickly found that link to the HBS article about market validation. I posted it in the chat as well. So that may be relevant to some of you. You can evaluate that and look at it as well. Since you're fortunately, or I don't know the particular reason, but maybe the audience got a lot of clarity and they are just evaluating the information you gave. So not too many questions from the audience, but at this point, I want to ask for your top suggestions. So any books that you can recommend that our audience read if they want to learn more about the subject, anything that they can do right now to start building for their future education journey and possibly at Bradford.
Sure. So kind of right, I am much more interested into the businesses of the future, so to say. So the book that I would highly recommend is Blitzscaling that I referred. So kind of right, for any of the, so to say, budding entrepreneur or digital marketeer of the future, start with Blitzscaling and then kind of right, take one step after that, right? And that would help you a lot, I think so. Let me look at the link for the book and I can share that. Yeah, I have shared the link over here in the chat box. Only thing is it is from amazon.co.uk. So probably kind of right, audience may need to look for the book in the Amazon India or kind of right local bookstore. And I'm sure kind of right, you would find that.
I'm sure they'll be able to find it. They're extremely tech savvy these days, and I'm sure they'll be able to figure this out. Lastly, Dr. Trivedi, one question, right? As I said, a lot of the audience are in the pre-final, final year. It's a big move for them to look at transitioning to studying abroad, really take that move towards, it takes a lot of courage to leave your family, friends, it's a high investment. So anything that they can do to prepare for that plan, right? Any suggestions, advice on how they should go ahead evaluating universities, programs, on how they can look at various funding, scholarship sources. You have, as I said, right, you have taught across institutions, you have seen life in 3 different countries. So any advice for these students on how they can really start on their international education journey?
One word advice would be extremely independent but thorough research. Now with advent of internet, we have got so many kind of right websites that are there at the disposal, but quite often I see that students are more relying on friends and family and off the hook recommendation rather than doing kind of right own independent research. So all the universities, be it University of Bradford or other kind of right universities, we have got a very detailed program pages, faculty resume, so on and so forth. So I would highly recommend students to spend a lot of time kind of right doing the independent research, and that would help a lot. Because picking up the right program and picking up the right university is at the heart of creating your future career journey.
All right. I also want to bring in Natasha over here, and if you can share with us the admission criteria, right? So what, if anyone is looking to apply to the master's programs at Bradford, then what should be the admission criteria? What during the GPA score, what is the profile, what they should focus on in making their application? And if you can also touch a little bit about the scholarship opportunities that these candidates can look for.
Yeah, so you need a strong personal statement. I would try and make it as detailed as possible and as relevant to the course. We get a lot of personal statements that aren't as relevant to the selected courses. So show your passion through your personal statement and why you really want to come to Bradford to study. You will need an IELTS of a score of 6.0 and above with no subtest of 5.5. There are alternative English tests that you can do. A list of those can be found on our website. At the minute, we're accepting quite a few different tests. Obviously, we understand that there's COVID. It's very difficult still to go into centres at the moment. So we are accepting online tests as well. So if you're not able to make it in person, don't worry about that. We will also require, most of our courses require a 2-2, which is equivalent to around 60% in your bachelor's. for our master's programs. Very few require 65%. However, it really does depend on the course. So the best thing to do is to take a look on our website. You can go to the website, select the course that you're interested in, and find out the relevant qualifications that are required for entry. With regards to scholarship, so every student from India receives an automatic £3,000 scholarship. So that will be given towards your tuition fees as well.
All right, that's extremely wonderful. So $3,000 is the
£3,000.
Pounds. So £3,000
Yes.
is a given for all Indian students who get through to Bradford.
Correct. Yes. So for our international students in India, you'll be given that £3,000 scholarship, which will obviously come off your course fees, and it's a substantial amount of money, which really does help towards the fees of the course.
That's really wonderful and good to hear that. Dr. Trivedi, I'm going to bring you in for a question which has come in. This is from Kunal. And here, this is very interesting thing which I'm noticing. So while the number of questions from the audience are few, I think they're very happy letting me ask all the questions. The attendance rate is really high. We still have 280 plus in the room. So I'm assuming the audience is generally happy with me framing the questions and asking them on their behalf rather than them taking the effort to ask questions. But I would encourage the people to ask questions directly. This is a great platform and opportunity for you to clarify any doubts that you may have about studying abroad, about the University of Bradford, studying in the UK, and all of those aspects. So please do ask your questions. This is what these forums are for, and feel free to make the most. Do try to leverage them to the extent possible. Now, Dr. Trivedi, this is a question from Kunal, who's already done his MBA in marketing in 2021, but he's confused about the path to take. There are opportunities in digital marketing, cybersecurity, sustainability, and he's trying to predict which one to bet on, which one to focus on for the future. And I understand all of these are emerging opportunities. There are a huge number of opportunities in all of these domains, but any of them that are your favorite picks?
Sure. So artificial intelligence, big data analytics, Internet of Things, augmented reality, cybersecurity, you go on and there would be a list of the careers for the future. The best career and best opportunity would be one for which you are best wired. That means each and every one of us have got some innate tendencies and some innate likings for few bits, right? So for example, I loved mathematics, and that's why I entered into statistics, big data analytics, and artificial intelligence, and I'm enjoying that. So select the field that most resonate with you, right? And I'm sure, so for example, if you're very much interested in social well-being and planet, look for the sustainability aspects of it. But if you are interested in, and if you are numerically aligned like me, then look for MSc Applied AI and Data Analytics, and that would be the field for the future. So quite often, if you love your job, and if you have the passion, the right result would come down the line.
That's great advice. You identify what your passion, what your interest is, and look at that. Kunal has a follow-on question. He loves marketing and international relations and business and anything. So if it's not in the domain of tech, right, then any opportunities that he can look at in international business and international relations or marketing?
Digital marketing is the way to future. So I'm sure that Kunal, I hope the name is Kunal, right? So Kunal would be aware that a significant amount of our media spend now has shifted from the traditional avenues like television advertisement and newspaper to the digital world of the future, be it AdWord, AdSense, Facebook analytics, so on and so forth. And many a time people wrongly believe that digital marketing is all about numbers. It is not. Digital marketing is about creativity. So same creativity that was required in the traditional domain is required now. It is about connecting with people. It is about having that insightful knowledge about customers. And then you can just put it into the digital world and it works now, right? So look at digital marketing, especially in that realm that you have mentioned, and I'm sure you would enjoy that.
That's truly relevant, and creativity, I think, is the grain over there. We know of a number of social media influencers who possibly make crores of rupees just because of the relevant content that they are able to create. So yeah, if marketing and that is your domain, then digital marketing with content creativity is the interesting thing. And I see for some reason Kunal is your, I think Kunal, you are making the most of this opportunity, and unfortunately I'm a little disappointed that the rest of the audience aren't, even though we have 270 plus people in the room right now. Still no questions from the other audience. So I'm a little disappointed by that. So Kunal, this is your opportunity. You're making the most of this platform that way. You're asking about the admission requirements for the master's program at Bradford for digital marketing. So I think Natasha has already touched upon this. Natasha, I understand the admission criteria remains the same across programs. So strong personal statement, or let's say a statement of purpose, then IELTS score above 6, and the rest of the criteria broadly remains the same across the programs.
Yeah, so the best thing to do, like I mentioned earlier, is depending on some of the courses, you will be required to have studied certain modules or potentially a certain degree. So the best thing to always do is just double check on our website. With regards to the marketing courses, you will need the IELTS of 6.0 and above, as mentioned, with no subtest of 5.5 in each section. So that's your reading, writing, listening, and speaking. And I think, yeah, it's really important to have a look at the different courses that are on offer, because we offer such a wide variety of courses. We do touch upon different modules within different courses, which are all relevant. So if it is digital marketing that you're interested in, obviously have a look at our marketing and business courses, have a look at the variety of courses that we do offer, because there may be a course that you see that you never really thought about, but it may open up other opportunities to you that you never thought you'd, wish to go down.
All right. Thank you, Natasha. And with that, Dr. Trivedi, I have a question from Kaldero, who's asking about the various opportunities in digital marketing, right? So we know digital marketing has been on the scene last decade, has been dominated by that. Majority of people start as digital marketing assistant manager, digital marketing, or digital marketing manager. But are there other sub-segments to that they can look, that the audience can look at, and any niches that they can focus on in digital marketing to really specialize and bring those unique skills?
Thank you, Sanjay. So actually, kind of right, in digital domain also now, very skill-specific niche job opportunities are opening up, be it in the realms of SEO, search engine optimization, kind of right. That is one part of it, which is buzzing very, very, very quickly. Secondly, kind of right, integrated IoT and digital marketing is another opportunity that is kind of right opening up very fast. Affiliate digital marketing is another opportunity that should be looked at by the students. Then there are now in the market Solomo experts who are there on the digital side of it. That is social, local, and mobile right solution digital marketers who are there. So these niche opportunities with the specific skill sets are opening up, and they are not kind of right over here only in UK, be it UK, US, or India. Everywhere the trend is spreading very, 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 very fast. So quite often, accept those niches, work on that, and I'm sure kind of right, the careers would flourish at least for the next decade, so to say.
So that's right. So digital marketing is not just about Facebook or Instagram advertising anymore. There are a lot of segments to it. And if you build, see the future, what I understand, and this is what we have heard from a lot of other universities and people as well, the future is in specialization, right? You of course you build basic competencies in a lot of different things, but if you're really strong in one domain, then you can command the top bucks for your really specialized knowledge that you bring in that. And search engine optimization, Solomo, all of these are niche areas in digital marketing that you can build depth in, specialize in those, and you really command those top tier salaries and opportunities for yourself. So thank you for that. I do have a question which has come in from Vishakha. This is about that business analytics will be making wonders in the coming decade. Can you tell her if she wants to be a research student for that department, what ideas should she ponder on? Or how to crack a research opportunity, let's say at Bradford, in the domain of business analytics?
Vishakha, there are a large number of faculties within School of Management as well as kind of right in School of Engineering who are working in the domain of business analytics. And business analytics is not only about number crunching. So number crunching is definitely one part of it, But along with that, data visualization, for example, kind of right, is a very new emerging field on a lot of researchers are working, right? Then data connect and data building, right? Machine learning are another part where kind of right, a lot of us are working. So take a look at the profile of different people, right? Faculties who are working in the area of business analytics, and you will see the flavors and slice of life kind of right that we are there in. For a research student, I would say best would be, again, the area which is most resonating with you. Directly write to the faculty, right? And if you have a interesting, off the hook, differentiated research idea, then you will definitely get a response from the kind of right concerned faculty, so to say. Yeah.
And does Bradford offer any online research opportunities as well? Can some of the students take on online researchers or interns as well at times?
So actually, we have got full-time and part-time kind of right PhD program offered. But to the best of my knowledge, yet PhD is full-time and part-time, not in a kind of right online variant.
No. So I meant as a research assistant or a research intern. Do you take on any research interns? So I understand some of the students in undergrad education in India do their research internships with faculty abroad. So do you take on any such? If any of them are interested, can they try reaching out to you or other faculty at Bradford?
Sure, of course. Please write to me and we can kind of right definitely explore that.
All right. And okay, I think I have answered most of the questions and we are in the last 2 minutes. So I'm going to wrap up this session the next 2 minutes, but I'm going to take this last question from Lokesh, who's asking for any useful digital marketing tools that they can use, right? I think they're still in the experimentation stage. Some of them are in new jobs. They must have got exposure to some tools through those jobs, but any interesting new tools that you're aware of that they can use to build their competency in digital marketing further?
Kunal, sorry, Lokesh, I would say something like this. If you are taking your first few steps in the world of digital marketing, rather than kind of right, really going for a very complex, new or innovative tool, better to start with a simple Google AdWords. There is a free kind of right course, certification course, which is available for Google AdWords. Start with that and then build from that further.
That's wonderful advice. I actually did that myself a couple of years ago. Extremely useful and free content right there on how to specialize, how to really optimize your Google AdWords. So that's a great one. I think one I really enjoyed was on Udemy as well. They had a really low cost course. You hardly a couple of $100, really discounted. That was a really good digital marketing course and tool work, and a lot of tools available over there. So maybe some of these are opportunities. Some of these are the things that you can look at. So great. I think with that, we are sharp on time. We are sharp at 8 p.m. IST in India. So we have really touched that mark. And with that, I would want to wrap up this session. Thank you, Dr. Trivedi. Thank you for taking out the time to do this. I know you are on holiday and you still came online to take this session. So thank you for doing this. Extremely insightful. Thank you to you as well, Natasha, for clarifying the admission related queries and telling our audience about the £3,000 scholarship, which Indian audience are eligible for at any of the programs at Bradford. So those of you who are looking to study in UK, which is really popular, sorry about that, which is a really popular destination for Indian students to study in London now. Study in UK, and UK does give out 2-year postgraduate work permits as of now. I understand if you complete a course over there, study in UK now, you are eligible to get in a 2-year postgraduate work permit as well to look for a job, find opportunities over there. So if you are looking to go and study in the UK, then Bradford could be your destination, where you are also eligible for a £3,000 scholarship from the university as an Indian student enrolling at the university. So with that, let me wrap up this session. Thank you, Dr. Trivedi, once more. Thank you, Natasha, once more. And thank you to our audience as well for being such an engaged audience. I've seen that the attendance percentage is really high. So I still see 80% of the peak login people still on the session. So that is really high. And I think the audience piggybacked on my questions to get insights from you. So thank you again for doing this session.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sanjay. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day, both of you. Take care.
Bye.
And have a good evening to the audience. Take care. All of you.